Who here knows what a conversion rate is? Okay. Have you figured out your conversion rates required for your business to be successful? It's a little bit tougher, but it's very valuable to go through. And so I've got an example here that's a little bit hard to show. But the concept is, if we went back to that big funnel, awareness, liking, preference, close, you start with what it is you need to drive. So I used an example here of $1 million. So I said, okay, from a revenue standpoint, we need $1 million this year. Okay, what does that mean? My average sale is, I made numbers just easy, it was 20 grand. So if I need $1 million in revenue, my average sale is 20,000. How many sales do I need? It's up there, it's 50.
50.
Okay, 50 times 20,000, you get your $1 million. So that says us as the company, my business, needs to drive 50 sales on average to make our numbers this year to be positive and possible. So what does that mean I need to do driving up in terms of conversion rates? Well, as you move from this concept of moving from awareness to liking to preference to research to close, I need 50 closes in the year. Each of those has a conversion rate. Just all that means is how many of the leads I have in the upper level move to the lower level. And so what I said here is, by the time you're into research, so my daughter's buying the car, she's in the research stage right now, 50% of those people that are in that stage will choose my product. And that's a pretty good conversion rate. So everybody that gets to that stage, I expect 50% of them will buy the product. That would say, if I need 50 wins, then I need 100 leads in the research standpoint. Is that fair? All right. Go up one more level. The next level is preference. And there, I'd say the conversion rate is, again, 50%. 50% that are there, I expect to move to the next level. The other 50% that don't buy from me go somewhere else. They buy from my competitor, they decide not to buy, and so on and so forth. And so that means, in that level, I need 200 leads for the year. So to get my 50 sales, I need 200 leads into that level. Now, we get up further up, the conversion rates get much lower. Right? From the people that you meet on the street, hi, would you like to buy my product? No. Right? You start getting into the lower rates. So if going from liking to preference, it's probably only around 25%, which means in the liking stage, I need now 800 leads to get my 50 leads at the bottom. And going up to the awareness, to the liking, that's like 10%. That means I need 8,000 leads up here to get to my 50, if those numbers are right. And then in terms of the suspect, which is kind of before they even get into the process, there's only about 5% of those guys that are. That would mean I need 160,000 contacts or customers potentially out there to make 50 leads, if those numbers are correct.
Don't you think you can streamline that with research?
There you go. So if we look at the next slide over here, so under your phone management, so that is a basic case. You're going to get much better at this, okay? As you go through your sales cycles, where today you had a 50% conversion rate, that's going to go up. You're going to get better at it. You're going to get very good at targeting your customers. The difference can be down here. So over here, the same kind of scenario, 50 at the bottom, but here the conversion rate is 75%. So if I can get the number of people in there and convert 75% of them to buy my product, then I only need 200 up in here, right? Sorry, I only need 100 in those, and so on and so forth. And if you streamline it, the way this works is on the suspect, you only need 16,000 people, as opposed to 160,000 people. And the reason this is important, you need to understand who you're targeting. Who am I going to target? What are you going to tell them? What is the messaging? What is it they need? The better you can get into that, the better you're going to get really good numbers as you kind of flow down the process of driving revenue. And so this is one of those things that I think you really need to look at very hard, because it gets away from you, because you think, oh, I sold this deal, right? Think of your last deal. Has everybody made a sale so far? Okay, maybe you haven't. That's just your different stage. Right? How easy was that one? Have you sold everything you've ever pitched? No. Come on. If you are, you're a superstar. You've got luck everywhere, right? You're going to learn from it. And when you lost a deal, did you learn? Hopefully. Because there's no lose. It's you either win the deal or you learn something. Right? You can't sit there and feel rejected. Oh, I lost it. This will never work. No, you've got some learnings that come out of that. And when we talk about research, That's really that fundamental element of what can I learn? What am I doing that I could do better? Not what I'm doing wrong. What can I do better as you move through this process? But as you manage the numbers, that'll start to point things to you very clearly. So when you talk about, you might be going down here, but you hit a block right here. Give an example on the purchasing of a car thing. It was a car dealership 10 years ago that decided it was too expensive to allow test drives. So they stopped them at their dealership. How do you think that went over? Right? That was a decision made by an accountant somewhere, right? The accountant said, this is costing us too much. And last week, a customer crashed and went up and we had to pay the insurance on it. Yeah, for sure, there's some risk around it. But if the buying process says, I'm going to look at it, but I'm going to test drive it before I buy it, if you're not going to let them do it, there's lots of competition out there that'll let them do it. Right? And so you have to understand what the implications are for all of those elements as you go through that marketing cycle. And make sure that you have the right things in there. So I've got a test one for you as well. Think about this. You might be shocked to see how many deals you actually need. And so if you look at that, you have to think about, if you're driving a revenue, there's really only 6 things that you can do that will change your revenue number. Number of customers, right? Number of leads in the top, your conversion rate, right? Number of closes, and then it goes into your profitability, so your cost of goods and things. So you can save money on a bunch of things, and the example of the car thing was the guy saved money, but blew all of the lead numbers all to Kafluti. That doesn't make sense to do. And so when you start to play with these numbers, understand what you're dealing with. If you need to hit a certain revenue number, you know what your average sale is, you know what the work is ahead of you. And then act and build your marketing plan, build your funnel so that you need whatever you need at the top. So if you've got low numbers, 160,000 contacts at the high end. If you have good numbers, maybe it's 16,000 to get your 50. And by the way, that's every year. Right? So the marketing engine needs to keep pumping to find new customers, new opportunities, kind of drive towards it. That makes sense?